Imagine this for a second. You dedicate your entire life to an art form, but no one, and I mean no one, truly understands it. That's the haunting idea behind Franz Kafka's A Hunger Artist. It's this incredible, almost fable-like tale about a man whose greatest performance is his own suffering. So let's explore the world of this very strange and forgotten spectacle.
And that brings us to the big question of the story, really. If an artist creates something, but the audience completely misses the point, are they still an artist? This is the core dilemma our main character is up against, a constant battle between his own personal dedication and how the public sees him. Just keep this question in the back of your mind as we go through his journey.
All right, so let's set the scene. We're going back to a time when public fasting wasn't just some weird curiosity. It was a massive form of entertainment. And right at the center of it all was the hunger artist. He was a legitimate star.
So, what exactly is a hunger artist? Well, this was a performer whose entire craft, his whole deal, was withstanding hunger in public for weeks on end. It was a citywide event. They'd even have observers watching him day and night to make sure he wasn't cheating. His endurance, his suffering, that was his art. And his world was, well, it's pretty stark. His stage was a simple cage filled with straw. His only props were a clock, just ticking away the days, and a little glass of water. And that cage is such a powerful symbol, right? It's both the stage for his art and the prison that traps him inside this whole entertainment machine.
But, this art form had rules, and they weren't set by the artist. Oh no, they were set by his manager, the impresario. And these rules, they created the central conflict of the artist's entire life.
The magic number was 40. 40 days. The impresario would never, ever let a fast go on longer than that. Now, that number has some serious biblical weight to it. You think of Moses or Jesus fasting in the desert. But for the manager, the reason was way more practical. 40 days was the sweet spot for commercial interest, right before the public started to get bored. And this is where you see the huge disconnect. For the impresario, 40 days was a perfect, profitable show. It was good business. But for the artist, it was just this arbitrary endpoint. He was convinced he could fast indefinitely, and stopping him felt like a total betrayal of his art. His real suffering wasn't the hunger pangs. It was the crushing frustration of never being allowed to show what he could really do.
But like any popular fad, public taste is fickle. The world moved on, and this captivating art of starvation, well, it started to lose its crowd.
His fall from grace was fast and pretty brutal. I mean, he went from being the talk of the town, with people just marveling at his willpower, to being basically forgotten. The crowds just disappeared. So, in a last-ditch effort to keep his art alive, he joins a big circus. But he's not the main event anymore. Not even close.
Yeah, his new spot in the circus was right next to the animal cages. People would just hurry right past him on their way to see the lions and tigers. He became an obstruction, something to walk around. He was completely alienated, totally invisible, even when he was sitting there on public display.
And it's here, in total obscurity, that the story reaches its quiet but absolutely devastating climax. This is where Kafka pulls the rug out from under us and reveals the true paradoxical nature of the artist's life's work. Forgotten by absolutely everyone, the artist just keeps fasting. Nobody's counting the days now. Nobody's watching. But he stays committed to his art, pushing himself way, way past that old 40-day limit, all by himself. Then, just before he dies, a circus overseer finds him in that forgotten cage. And with his last breath, the artist makes this utterly shocking confession. His great artistic sacrifice, this incredible self-denial, it wasn't some act of spiritual strength. It was, get this, simply a matter of taste. He fasted because he had never, ever found a food in the world that he actually enjoyed. So, after the artist is buried, straw and all, the circus doesn't just leave the cage empty. Oh, no. They replace him with something they know for a fact the crowd is going to love. His replacement is a young, powerful panther. And the contrast here is just staggering. The artist, he represented this complex internal struggle, right? It was all about denial and endurance. The panther is the complete opposite. It's pure life, raw power, instinct. It gives the audience this immediate, thrilling jolt of energy, something the artist with his quiet suffering could never, ever provide.
So, what are we supposed to make of this bizarre, sad story? What was the artist truly hungry for?
Well, Kafka leaves us with a lot to chew on. You've got this theme of profound alienation, right? The futility of an art that's only meaningful to the person making it. Then there's his pride, this sense of martyrdom, where he sees himself as a suffering saint for a craft nobody really cared about. But the biggest takeaway is this. His real suffering was never about physical starvation. It was the constant, gnawing dissatisfaction of being misunderstood, of wanting recognition for a sacrifice that no one could ever really, truly get.
And that leaves us with this final, lingering thought. The hunger artist gave his entire being to his art, only to die confessing it was all because he was a picky eater. It really forces us to ask, what is the true cost of a life dedicated to a passion that the world just can't or maybe won't understand? It's a question that echoes far beyond the bars of that artist's cage.